Members, we have a memorial resolution. Would everyone please take their seats? Chair lays out the following resolution. Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 630 by Zaffirini and the entire Senate. Whereas the passing of former Texas State Representative and Senator James William Haley of Austin on July 3, 2022, at the age of 78, brought a great loss to his family and his many friends. And whereas Mr. Haley won a special election for a seat in the Texas House of Representatives in 1978, and he took a leading role in enacting sweeping education reforms. And whereas following his election to the Texas Senate in 1988, he remained an ardent champion of education. And whereas Senator Haley returned to private life in 1995, a valued member of University Christian Church, he served in various leadership roles, including elder and chair of the board, and he enjoyed teaching the Seekers Church School class for 23 years. And whereas in all his endeavors, Senator Haley enjoyed the love and support of his wife, Mary, and the couple formed a strong team, having known each other since childhood. He took great pride in his sons, Jeffrey and Robert, and he had the pleasure of seeing his family grow to include 5 grandchildren. And whereas through his unyielding commitment to education, Bill Haley made significant contributions to his fellow Texans, and his warmth, kindness, and sense of humor enriched the lives of all who were privileged to know him. Now therefore be it resolved that the Senate of the 88th Texas Legislature hereby pay tribute to the memory of the Honorable James William Bill Haley and extend sincere condolences to the members of his family. And be it further resolved that when the Texas Senate adjourns this day, it do so in memory of former State Senator Bill Haley.
Senator Zaffirini, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, it truly is my pleasure and honor to join 30 senators to co-author Senate Resolution 630, memorializing former State Senator Bill Haley, celebrating his life and his accomplishments. Senators Whitmire, West, and I served with him in the Senate, and Senator Hinojosa served with him in the House of Representatives. His legacy of unwavering commitment will live forever in the hearts and minds of all who knew and loved him. Growing up in Central Texas in a close-knit family instilled in him the values of integrity and hard work. He developed his passion for education at Texas Christian University, Stephen F. Austin State University, and Texas State University, where he earned his bachelor's, master's degrees, and teaching certificate. As a public school teacher in Houston and in Center, he made government, American history, and economics courses engaging and fun while encouraging his students to reach for the stars. In the House of Representatives, he first distinguished himself as chair of the House Public Education Committee, where he championed smaller class sizes, higher standards for student achievement, and increased compensation for teachers. Known affectionately as the East Texas Maverick, due to his East Texas drawl and relentless determination, he proved himself anew when Lieutenant Governor Bob Bullock appointed the freshman senator chair of the Senate Education Committee. Beyond his legislative accomplishments, Senator Haley possessed a unique ability to infuse humor into his work and into our lives. His infamous tongue-in-cheek amendment proposing a bullet train through his hometown, population 6,000, exemplified his wit. The humorous tactic earned him the whimsical Best Boondoggle Award from Texas Monthly for bringing levity to the political arena while addressing critical issues. Only Bill Haley could do that. On a personal note, what I loved most about Bill Haley was the delicious pound cakes made by his wife, Mary. She made them with fresh farm eggs and butter, and he said, "You can have her recipe, but yours will never be as good." And he was right. She joins us in the Senate today, along with her wonderful sons, Jeffrey and Robert. Robert has worked in the Texas Senate since 1995, so all of you know him. His cherished 5 grandchildren and daughter-in-law join us in the Senate gallery. Will the members of the Haley family in the gallery please stand and be recognized and welcome to the Texas Senate? Thank you. Mr. President and members, it is my pleasure to yield to Senator Campbell.
Thank you, Senator Zaffirini. Members, we do have a number of senators that wish to speak. Senator Campbell, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I did not know Senator Bill Haley, but I have the pleasure of working with part of his legacy, his son, Robert. But we can get to know Senator Haley through the eyes of someone close to him, his son, Robert. And as Robert puts it, my father worked tirelessly day in and day out to improve the education system here in Texas. He cared deeply about school teachers and about the quality of students produced by the Texas education system. One funny story about my father, Robert says, as I was approaching high school graduation and it was time to begin thinking about where I wanted to go to college, he simply said, "You can go anywhere you want, but I'm only going to write a check to TCU." So that did help his decision on where to go to college. He said that his father opened many doors for he and his brother. He said, "My career here in the Senate can definitely be attributed to my dad." Robert began in the Capitol in January of '95 and then as Assistant Sergeant of Arms, and was very thankful to land as Committee of Nominations Director in 2005. Robert serves still today, faithfully and effectively, now for 28 years here in the Capitol. Thank you, Senator Zaffirini, for bringing this resolution forward. I couldn't think of anyone better to offer our accolades to and thankfulness to than previous Senator Haley.
Senator West, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, to the Haley family. You know, I've had the pleasure of being a state senator since 1993. And one of the first senators that I had the opportunity to have a run-in with, delightful run-in with, was Bill Haley. As a freshman, he tried to provide us the class, and it was about 8 of us in the class at that time, some, I guess you could say, some ideas in terms of how we should handle ourselves here in the state Senate. And when I needed someone to go to, I was able to go to him in order to get input into my decision-making process. Think about education. I think it's kind of, Senator Zaffirini has already described his contribution to education, his contribution to this body, the pound cakes. And that was probably one of the first pieces of pound cake that I had from Bill Haley, from his lovely wife. He'll be missed. And the fact of the matter is that as I thought about comments for today, all of us will one day go this way. And hopefully we will be remembered by future colleagues as making a contribution to the state of Texas, the Senate, and obviously being there for our families also. Bill Haley was an exceptional state senator. I got to know him more so after his legislative career, and I continue to allow him to have input into my decision-making process, often telling him he always had a cup of coffee in my office. So I will share with you that because of that, I guess you could say, nexus between Haley and myself and the family, you will always have a cup of coffee in my office anytime you decide so. Senator Zaffirini, thank you for bringing this much-deserved resolution to our friend and former colleague, Bill Haley. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator West. Senator Nichols, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, members, and thank you, Senator Zaffirini, for bringing this resolution up. I did know Senator Haley. He was my state senator before I ever got interested in politics and running for office or even work at TxDOT, like y'all know. He was my state senator, and he would come around and we would visit. I knew he had a passion for school, public education, and we would talk about the schools. He would visit, and I'd show him around town and different kind of things in the community, tell him, make suggestions of people he might want to go visit, and he did. So he paid close attention to his district. He has a passion for that, to represent them. And he did a good job as that. Later, I know, when he went in the lobby and he would come in my office, he felt very comfortable. We would work on things together that were of common interest. But I've got to tell my one Bill Haley story. We had I'm going to call it a project. It was Senator Colcourse, you would appreciate this. It was an abandoned rail line for 42 miles that ran through my county and into the next county. And it went through people's pastures. It went through, you may remember this too, went through downtown Jacksonville, affected businesses and stuff like that. And we were all working with the railroad as they went through the abandonment process. But all of a sudden there was a project called Rails to Trails. And some bicycle group, through some little quirk in the federal law that preempted state law and state private property deeds, made it a jogging trail or a bicycle trail. And we decided we would fight that. We didn't like that. I kind of led the charge, and we passionately for about a year worked on this thing to oppose it. We were even fighting TxDOT and the land office, of all people. It was a big deal. I came down here several times. But finally, he agreed to come talk to us, and I had about 300 people in a great big church, Baptist church, there in East Texas, all riled up. Here's our great state senator. He's going to come stop this thing. And I told him what the deal was. And so he stood in front of this big audience of people that were all riled up to stop it. And he started off by saying, rails to trails are wonderful things. They're beautiful. People jogging and all. And he started talking about all the wonderful things about them. And everybody was going, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, didn't I tell him which side this group is on? They're on the opposite side. And at the end of his comments, he said, but if y'all don't want it, you won't get it. We will stop it. And everybody stood up and applauded for him. So we appreciate working with him. We're sorry for your loss. Thank you, Senator Zaffirini.
Thank you, Senator Nichols. Senator Hinojosa, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Zaffirini. I serve with Bill Haley. I was a freshman when I came into the Texas House of Representatives, and I met Bill Haley. And he impressed me right away, a very soft-spoken man, very well-mannered, but also he was very informed about public education. And what was so impressive about Bill Haley is that he not only did the talk, but did the walk. He talked about his experience as a teacher, what he learned, what was good about our public education schools, what we needed to make improvements, and he took me sort of under the wings, because I knew about public education, but certainly not anywhere near what he knew. But he always believed very strongly that education was the best equalizer we have in our society. But he not only did the talk, he actually did the walk. Because after he served and came here to the Texas House, he came over to the Texas Senate and continued his mission to improve public education, provide the best that our schools can provide our children. And I will tell you that even after he left the legislature, he would still be very much involved. And I saw him many times around the state capitol, running around, informing us, educating us, and pushing good legislation that was in the legislature to make our schools better. So for him, I'm very honored to have served with him and have known him, and for the help and assistance he provided me. But more important, his commitment to our school children, his commitment to public education. And may he rest in peace and be in heaven. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hinojosa. Senator Colcourse, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Zaffirini, thank you for bringing this memorial resolution forward and for your wonderful words. To my colleagues, the same. I reflect on Bill Haley with a smile, as you can see. I did not know Bill Haley. I was elected to the Texas House, and he beelined his way over to my office, promptly told me who he was, and that we were both horned frogs. And from there started a great friendship and relationship. I was thinking about this today. We're all really busy right now. We're in the middle of session, and we say to our staff, "What's that bill number? What's that bill number? Which one is that?" And I actually, was it HB 72 or SB 72? I think was one of his SB, HB 72. Why do I remember HB 72 by Bill Haley? I have no idea, but it's what he impressed upon me about the importance, of course, we all know, of education and how we educate our children. He did have a great sense of humor, and we would see each other at football games, and that was so lovely. Robert, I must admit something. I'm not sure I knew he was your son. You were his son, rather. You were his son, and it's great to connect those dots. To the grandchildren, what a legacy. To the family, what a legacy he left, and those kinds of impressions. What Senator Nichols, I did enjoy that story, Senator Nichols. That's really good stuff, and so we just lift him up today to say that what he did here, and members, I want to say this to us. We're to the final hours of passing bills. And we're rushing around. But what we do here really does matter. And it is a legacy. And Bill Haley's legacy is large and wonderful. And he's made a difference in millions of lives. God bless his legacy, and God bless his family.
Thank you, Senator Colcourse. Senator Hughes on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. And members, thank you for sharing what you have. I don't have much to add, but a wonderful man, and well known to me by reputation before I got here, of course, representing our region of the state. Senator Haley had a lot of relatives in Mineola, my hometown. Prominent people, wonderful, hardworking, gave back to the community. One particular was James Haley. Uncle James is what Senator Haley called him, and man I really looked up to, helped me a lot, and his name came up a lot in conversations. When I got here, Senator Haley was in the private sector and working on those important matters we've talked about. And occasionally when Senator Haley and I would be talking about an issue that we disagreed on, and he was concerned I was going to vote wrong, he would say, "I'm going to tell Uncle James on you if you don't get that right." He always played that card if he needed to. It's all been said so well. A wonderful gentleman, charming, erudite, kind, well-prepared, led with his heart and his head, and leaves such an empty place, as you guys well know. But these times like this, when we can reflect on wonderful memories we have of him, are good for all of us. And we just thank the Lord for you and for you guys and the grandchildren. He was really something. We thank the Lord for his life, and we're thankful for you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Hughes. Senator Eckhart, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And y'all have been standing for a while, so I'll be brief and speak only about Senator Haley's life after elective office, after the shine of title. Senator Haley worked through his church and his alma mater, TCU, serving on the Austin chapter of TCU Alumni Association, a member of the Austin Regional Council, the National Alumni Board, and the Executive Board of the TCU College of Fine Arts Board of Visitors. And that kind of work, that selfless work, was exemplary of his character. Above all else, Senator Haley enjoyed the love and support of you, his family. You know better than any of us who did serve with him or didn't serve with him the kind of legacy he has left, the kind of love that lasts beyond death, that lives on in these halls as a touch of love that expanded access for the benefits and the blessings of education for every Texan, and know the love from which that came, the belief that the blessings of education actually make our state a better state into the future, long after we're all gone. And for that, my deep appreciation to him and to all of you, and for the example that he and you set for us to pick up that legacy and find ways to truly make the future of Texas better than the Texas of today, far better than we have experienced, and better even after we will not get to benefit from it, when we are long gone. I hope that we will establish such a legacy as Senator Haley has established. What a wonderful, wonderful example to follow. Thank you so much. And thank you, Robert, for the time that I got to serve with you. Deeply appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator Eckhart. Senator Zaffirini to close.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, as we remember Senator Bill Haley, let us celebrate his dedication to education and his extraordinary contributions to our great state. We who served with him in the legislature continued our friendship as he continued to lobby for his priority issues. His warmth, intelligence, and infectious sense of humor endeared him to all who had the privilege of knowing him and of serving with him. Today, we honor his legacy of excellence, a legacy that reminds us of the profound impact on our lives that one person can have. Often, members, as you know, but just as well as I, when we have a memorial resolution or an honorary resolution, someone rises to make a motion to add the names of all the senators. In this case, because of Bill Haley, every member of the Texas Senate signed in advance. We have 31 co-authors, and I am so proud of that. And I'm so grateful to Mary, to Jeffrey, to Robert, to his grandchildren and daughter-in-law who join us in the gallery, for the joy and the love that you brought into this life of this very, very special Texan. Thank you for everything you did for him. And I know that he will live forever in your hearts and mine too. Mr. President and members, on behalf of the 31 members of the Texas Senate, I move adoption of Senate Resolution 630.
Members, Senator Zaffirini moves adoption of the resolution. Would all those in favor of the resolution please rise? It being